Welcome to another episode of the Coffee Conversations, Stree Shakti, powered by the Emerging India Forum TEIF, Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, Indian Business Group IBG, Indian Chamber of International Business ICIB, and Prime Infotech Solutions. Today's theme is Buzzwords, Debuzz, 10 others ways to say leadership coaching. Today with us, we have Girijaa Deshhpande. A little bit about Girijaa. Girijaa is a multi-phase dynamic lady, a leadership coach, a training partner to several organizations for their soft skills and behavioral skills training. She is the founder and director of DG Consulting, director at CSR Projects Fundraising for Rotary Club of Mumbai Elite, avenue director of the Rotary Foundation at Rotary District 3141. She's also the president at All Elite Advanced Toastmasters Club and founder and vice president education of Elite Athletes Toastmasters Club at the first Rotary Toastmasters Collaborations Club in India. So guys, the format of our coffee conversations is going to be the same. It's going to be first, we're going to ask about the professional journey, the personal journey, and then the fun element. So let's start the coffee conversation today. So Girijaa, it's great to have you with us. So we know that you wear many kinds of hats. So first and the most important thing that I really want to understand from you is how do you balance your time and work? How is it possible for you to do so?
This has been asked ad nauseum. All the time people ask this. And I think if there is passion, everything happens naturally. When you begin to do what you really love to do, something begins to churn in. Work is not anymore just work. So even at midnight, if you find the calling, you will get up and do it. You'll enjoy doing that. So it never is a burden. And balance also, it happens naturally. You look at a woman who is from a small village, who travels miles to carry water and just cook food and still educate the children. She manages time for it. And a woman in the city, she has got a very functional kitchen with all the gadgets, and she has to cook the same 3 meals a day, and she has to also educate her children, and she also manages to go to work, and then she also finds the time for it. So our mind is such that we don't allow a vacuum. So when we have some free time, we will always find some work to do, something that we are passionate about. If we find that, we are lucky. So that's it. Make an effort to find that, then it is not a tough thing at all to find a balance. It just happens. And another thing is, even people say it is a myth. Work-life balance is a myth. And you all the time at working. I would say that it is a myth because life is what is happening, not work is there happening. Even at work, you're having a life. And even in your personal life, you're having a life. Because at work also, we have friends. And the growth that you experience from within is life, ultimately. So it traverses everywhere.
All right. So you're a leadership coach and plus coaching in philosophy. So how do you go about your leadership coaching? Can you please take us through to that?
Leadership coaching is, something that came along the way. I was a teacher. I started as a teacher with a school. And then I began to teach in Podar College, that is in Mattunga. I was a junior college teacher and I looked younger, shorter than many of the students because I was just 21. And many of my friends used to tell me, always come in sari, otherwise students are going to mistake you for another student. That's how it was. And there, slowly I found my calling. I realized that I enjoyed coaching and mentoring people. And it was not just teaching per se, not just completing the curriculum. It was going beyond that. So the college principal also recognized that and gave me opportunities to coordinate with organizations. And that is when it began. The coaching began. It began as training, soft skills training. Because in the college, when I conducted some training, some of the people who had come from BRC, they saw the way I was conducting the training and they said, why don't you do it for our engineering students? I said, what? For engineering students, I'm an MA literature and how can I come and teach your engineering students? They said, whatever you're doing with your students, that's all we want. We want communication to be taught for them. So that is when I went over there. At that point of time, I did not know that there is a profession called coaching. There is a profession called mentoring. I I had no idea about all this. There was no internet, nothing. But then when I went there, I experienced what it is, the joy of seeing people blossom, because many of these engineers, they came from smaller towns. They were very good at their technical expertise, but they did not know how to write a report. They did not know how to start a conversation. They did not know how to negotiate. They did not know how to express their difficulty when they had one. All the time they were plagued with a lot of lack of confidence. So that is when I realized that what I was giving them was a very powerful tool that is going to last with them for life. All these engineers always thought that engineering skill is all they need to go ahead in life. But once they came to work, they realized for writing a simple mail, they are spending an entire half day or sometimes even 6 hours and tearing off papers and throwing them because they're not able to draft a simple mail. So that is where it began. And then now I realize, yes, this is something that is required even when people go up to the highest levels, because the higher you go, you want to achieve more. And the impact of what you do is very serious. And it can have, the impact can be huge on every person in the organization, right from the person who opens the door for you when you get out of the car, to the people with whom you are interacting in the boardroom. Everybody is impacted by the way you communicate. Your body language, the words, the choices that you use, the confidence that you exude tells a lot about what is going on in the organization. So that is how it began. Now, how do I go about it? Any project, anything, a coaching project is all about of the person, the project, and the pattern. So the person has to have awareness about his strengths and his weaknesses. That is the first thing. So he needs to have an awareness about his strengths and his weaknesses. Then he should be able to analyze in relation to the project that he's doing, what are the strengths that he has and what are the areas where he needs to improve. And he also needs to know who are the stakeholders whom he is impacting and what kind of behavior do they want from him. What is it that is going to be effective in the given circumstance? They have reached somewhere because of certain effective behaviors, but what worked earlier need not always work, or they may have to acquire certain things or fine-tune certain things. So this awareness has to develop. And then we sit together, we develop an action plan. They interact with they identify their stakeholders, they interact with their stakeholders, they find out what is it that will work in the given circumstances, looking at the perceived results that they want. And then we decide on an action plan together. It has to come from them, not from me, because they have to commit themselves to that action plan. And then we decide, okay, what is the achievement that they want to have? And for those achievements, we sign up. And then once they're achieved, then we take the feedback of the stakeholders, again, constantly, once again, take feedback once in, say, 6 months, and for some time until they're very confident that they're right on their way. So people have to realize that there is a pattern to their behavior, and what is the pattern that they would like to keep adhere to? What is the pattern that they need to change about themselves? And then coaching works like a miracle. So the people whom we are coaching, they have to be committed that I have taken up this coaching assignment, not because X and Y and Z feel it, because the stakeholders feel it, because I agree with my stakeholders. I feel that what my stakeholders say is good for me and for the organization and for the community at large. Then the second is communication. At any point of time, they should have the willingness to communicate, whether they are going in the right direction. If something is not working for them, if the stakeholders say something and they disagree with it, they need to come and talk about it and brainstorm. So communication is the key here. And the next is concentrate. This is the result that I want, and I want to concentrate on that, and I don't allow my energies to get scattered. So yes, I will have parties, I will attend meetings, I'll go out and spend time with my friends, I will have family time, but yes, there is a concentration within this much time. I need to achieve these goals, and these are certain small goal settings that I've done for myself, certain keystones that you have got it. So certain milestones you have kept, and am I keeping at the milestones in mind each day? How much do I have to progress? So are they aware of it? They have to keep control of that. So that is the next thing. They have to control themselves, the time that they spend, the way they emotionally spend themselves, the energy that they spend themselves. See that they keep all the time enthusiastic. They have to be in control, be aware of the situation. And then confidence that I can achieve what I've set out to achieve. So we are there to do it with them, for them. But ultimately, it has to come from them. It is just like you give birth to a child, and the child is not you, right? So like Khalil Gibran says, that the child comes from you, through you, but the child is not you. So you have to allow the child to explore, become aware, and experience, and then blossom. So that's what we tell them. The people are all of different types. Some are talkers, some are doers, some are supporters, and some are controllers. But we cannot be predominantly one only all the time. We need to change according to the situation. So sometimes we may be good at talking, we may need to talk. There are times when we need to just focus on doing and getting the results. There are times, most of the time, we simply have to be supporters. We have to understand what people want to achieve, that they are willing to put in the work, and be there with them and go ahead with them, walk the talk with them. At times we have to control. There are times when there are crisis situations when we need to take hold, and we can't let people have their way. So that is all coaching is about. So the thing is, coaching is like time bound. So once those results are achieved, then we get the feedback and we say, okay, the idea is not to permanently make the person dependent on you. We want the person to let go of the person, let him move ahead. Maybe he'll come back again with another challenge, with another skill, and then we may work on it. It could be skill or behavior, both of these. Sometimes you are a mentor also. So you share your experiences, you share what has happened in your life, and they glean what is it that is applicable to them from that experience. So mentoring is it can continue forever, whereas coaching is time bound. So some people want a mentor, so it goes on. Even after the communication, the coaching assignment has ended, they would like to keep in touch, and they want to understand what is going on in your life, and from that they gain experience. And some people are okay with completing the coaching assignment and moving on. Both are okay as far as I'm concerned.
So Girijaa, I want to understand. Now you were just talking about situations and stuff like that. How can you establish like an environment, like a secure or a safe environment for your trainees who are there with you on this? So how does that work?
Okay, when you talk about the secure and safe environment for your trainees, we need them to feel comfortable sharing their issues, right? So how do you make them comfortable? How do you make them trust you? So what is more important is we make them trust us by being vulnerable ourselves.
Okay.
When we share things that have happened in our life, we share things that we can tell them, assure them all the confidentiality in the world. Okay. But unless you share that your vulnerabilities, that where you have failed in your life and what did you learn from there, then they begin to get confidence. So the more you are vulnerable, the more they are with you. The more you're open with them, transparent with them, the more they are transparent with you. It's very important that, we have to convince that I'm not insecure, that I'm sharing my past, I'm sharing my successes, I'm sharing my failures, everything, right? So it is not I don't have to measure my words. I have to understand that the person who is sitting in front, he may want results in some specific areas, but he's whole as a person. I have to tap his entire person, not just one skill or one behavior. So if I have to touch the heart, I have to be open. So once that happens, then they feel that they are safe in that environment, because you feel safe with them, they feel safe with you. That is when they say that I have this issue with this person. Say, for example, there are organizations will recommend you for coaching, which will recommend a person to you for coaching. The person is very senior and the person says, I don't understand. Why do I need to coach my communication skills? I'm so good at it. And all the tests that I do also show that his communication skill is not so, it is quite good. But then I tell him that look at this as an opportunity. Don't look at this as, okay, the person is finding fault or the person is looking for excuses not to give you that opportunity. Say, for example, if a person is a group leader and he is about to be promoted to the position of vice president, and he knows that there are 4 people who are contending, and then the organization has asked him to coach. He knows that only he has been asked to coach. He doesn't know if the other 3 people are also put for other coaching assignments. So he feels insecure and he thinks, oh, somebody is out there not to allow me to go up, right? So that is when we need to tell them that a little more learning is not going to put you in a problem. Look at this as an opportunity. So what I tell them is, try to understand what is the job description where you are stepping in, right? And for those job descriptions, what are the skills and behavior that you need to exhibit? Do you have them? Do a self-introspection. Find out who are the people whom I prepare the questionnaires with them. I sit with them. Sometimes we identify the key stakeholders. We personally interview them. And then we understand and we come back and tell the coaching client. I tell him that this is what the stakeholder feels that you need to improve. Then they get an insight. Oh, yes, perhaps yes. Then they're ready to work on it. So sometimes they don't realize that maybe as a vice president, they have to brief a conference. They have to brief suddenly the press, which they may not have done earlier. So they think, oh, I'm good at communication. I can talk with anybody. But exactly in a press conference, in a matter of 2 minutes, what exactly will you say? What will be the brief that you will, that they have not thought about, right? So it is not pointing fault. It is like sharpening the axe. Many of us think that the original axe with which he entered the phrase enough for us to go through the entire lifespan. No. When we begin to work, we start with certain skills. But as we get along the way, we realize that very often we have to spend time to sharpen the axe. We think completely all the time devoting ourselves to work is enough. Like you must have heard the story of the person who is like, 2 people join, work together, 2 carpenters, and one person is able to cut 3 trees a day and another person is cutting 60 trees a day. And he says, okay, he's my junior. How is he getting promotion? And then the other person says, I take time to sharpen my axe. So do we take that time? So often we don't that. So many people who are busy working, they don't realize that they don't take time off to sharpen their axe. They think that they have all the skills. But when we work with them, they begin to. So just create that environment by being where you worked in your area of life, where did you feel that you have not sharpened the axe? When you saw some other coach doing something better, then you realize, I could have also done this. Why did I not do it? Because I did not do this course. So in between, do you keep brushing up your skills? So that's it. You create the safe environment for them.
Girisha, can you please tell us something more about the common challenges that you see in your clients and how do you help them with that? Any common challenges?
1 minute. I'll just increase the volume.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you able to hear me well?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay. So the common challenges that I feel is, yes, one is people have a closed mindset. Like I said, people believe that I know everything that they need to believe for the next position for which I'm aspiring for, or the next challenge that the organization is going through. The organization may be going through a shift. There may be a merger, there may be acquisition. So they may need certain other skills, cross-cultural orientation, etc. And they think that they know everything. That is one. Or they think that's okay. They are not so important. They may be aware, but they don't think that they are so important. They think, okay, whatever they know already is more important. Other things they can pick up on the way and they need not give time. Second is the barrier is ego. Who is he to tell that I need to know something? So the customer's opinion, even though you want the customer, you may not feel that the customer knows exactly what are his pain points you don't identify with. So that is the problem. So usually the customer's challenge is understanding the pain point of the stakeholders. What exactly is hurting the stakeholder? What exactly the stakeholder wants from you? What is he expecting from you? So if you are able to understand that, then you will put the things in it. You may have the same things, but sometimes you may have to organize things in differently. Imagine that you have a feast ready, right? And not everybody starts it the same way. I tell you, if you go to the south, okay, if it is a function, first they will put a sweet.
Right.
If you go to Maharashtra, the first they will put is salt, right? So it varies. So what people are oriented to certain type of culture, so certain expectation is there. That is one thing. So there are role expectations, there are cultural expectations. Both these things one has to rise up to. You have to strike a balance. So that is these are the barriers. So we don't tell them that you have these barriers, but we give examples. We share from our life what kind of barriers people experience. We share from the life of other role models, other big leaders. So reading helps a lot. So we say that how certain situations were overcome because people had that understood that this is the mindset. You know, there is a famous Walt Disney was setting up this Disneyland, right? And when he went to a particular area that was a Caribbean setup, okay, and everything was fine, and all the engineers were in the great mood. They said, we are setting it up next week. Everything is ready. And Walt Disney was walking around and he said, something is missing. Something is missing. I don't know what is missing. In fact, even the sea salt smell also they had brought. So the engineer said, what is it that could be missing now? Everything we have done. And he said, no, I think there is something missing. And he was looking around and then he saw that there was a sweeper there. And the sweeper looked to be from the area Caribbean, and he was standing there he stopped his brooming and he was standing there. So Walt Disney sensed that he wants to say something, but he's not saying. So he said, do you have something to say? So he said, may I? Because he didn't expect that somebody will ask him to give his opinion, all learned engineers there. So he said, yes. So he said, fireflies are missing. The Caribbean has fireflies. So Walt Disney said, we have announced to the whole world that we are starting next week. So we cannot postpone it. So until we create electronic fireflies, let us flow fireflies. So they got fireflies in millions from Caribbean and they used it every day. They said it every day. So get feedback from every quarter and it helps. So this, like when we give these examples, people realize, yes, I also need to be open to feedback from anybody and everybody that comes. And that is when I achieve excellence. Finally, you want results. Everybody wants it, their role to be effective. They want to feel happy at the end of the day. So they are willing to take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the next question what I'm going to ask you. I think every post, you must have got this question every single time. So why did you choose the profession what you're currently in?
In fact, I would say that, like I said, I didn't choose the profession chose me. Yeah, I just started off as a teacher. I never knew that there is something called as leadership coaching. But when I began to work with organizations, I was working as a college lecturer, and during Diwali holidays, Christmas holidays, summer holidays, I was working with these organizations because it gave me special joy doing that. Because in a college where there is a specific curriculum, in a class when you go, there are 130 students, you have limited time, and the classrooms are not many. So even if you want to change, there is only a limited change that you can bring about. Whereas here, there was a lot of opportunity for creativity, and it made me really feel. So I worked there. That is when I realized all these people are leaders in their own profession, and working with them, I'm sharpening my skills, and every day I'm growing. And so I the profession chose me, and I was happy being there. So then I moved out of teaching and moved completely here slowly. I built my clients before I left my teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next question, what are the things you keep in mind when you're doing a CSR project?
Oh, okay. We move to another area.
Yeah.
Yes. When I do a CSR project, what I look at is sustainable, how sustainable it is. Like I said, just like coaching, we don't want to be all the time hand holding it, right? So you take up a project, do a project, then are the stakeholders able to take it further, and will it last forever? Say, for example, I buy an equipment and install it in the organization, and then will they look after that? I even buy them an annual maintenance for 5 years, but after that, will they look after that? Will they do what needs to be done with the machine all the time? So we do fruit tree plantation in small villages where farmers have been actually doing normal, say grains or grain production or whatever. And then they find that their incomes are very less. And then we realize in certain areas where the water supply is very less, if they are insisting on, if they continue with the traditional farming of grains, then they are not able to do much and they are not able to earn. So in order to augment the income of the farmers, there is somebody called as Mayank Gandhi who works with us, and then he is an expert in this, and he does like drip irrigation. So with very less water, they can have fruit tree plantations and the income increases by 6 times, sometimes even 10 times. So the farmers, their standard of life increases like anything. Their children are able to go for education, higher education. Everybody need not be always a farmer. And even if they turn out to be farmer, they can use the best implements and bring agricultural revolution in the country. So if you look long term, then when we look at them, we train them so that they are able to sustain it. In the first 2-3 years, we are there, we are providing the funds, we are providing the seeds, we are providing the people to help them out, plant the saplings. They do all that along with them. But once it is done, are they able to continue the cycle on their own so that we move to other villages, right? So we set up, say, if we work with the school, we set up the washrooms, then have they taught the children how the various elements of wash? Do they maintain the sanitation in the washrooms? If we provide them facilities where women will be able to use certain kits so that for the menstruation products, do they maintain them? So everything we need to look at, the sustainability and the number of people who are impacted by the project. These are the 2 things that we look at. All other hardships we are willing to overcome. Yes.
So I would like to reverse the question a little bit, but so now this is your take on CSR. So what does a corporate company has to do before being a part of a CSR project? What does a company need to do for that?
Yeah, the company needs to find out what is the CSR record, right? What is our previous experience? What are the projects we have worked on? What kind of reports have we submitted? They have to do the earlier research. Do we have the necessary certification? Do we have the ATG registration done? Are we registered with the corporate affairs so that we can give them a certificate? And do we do the due diligence? Say, for example, a company says, I'm giving you 10 lakhs and you implement this project. Then what is the plan for it? How we go about it? So do we get proper 3 or 5 quotations, go through them, select the best? Do we interview them, select the best? Are we ready to include the company's people? If they want to give the time, are we willing to? Some people, no, we don't want to. So if you're more transparent, they can be sure that yes, we are willing to include them in the interviews that we have with the vendors. Then we decide the dateline. We keep on sending them periodic reports about how things are going on, send the final report. Then again, after 1 year, see what is the progress. So then they again come back to us with the next CSR project. So reliability is something very important.
Okay. And if I have to ask you, now we know that companies and individuals go for CSR projects, and all these projects come from NGOs. So what are the preparations that an NGO needs to go through, for asking any corporate to come and give us this project? Are there any kind of
Yeah, of course.
Prior
Yes,
to that?
yes, yes. So Rotary, I'm part of Rotary Club of Mumbai Elite, right?
Yes.
So 2023 is the next year, like from July, the next year begins, the next president begins. But the preparation for the next year's projects have started right now. So we start exploring what are the projects for the next year, what we can do. There are some projects that we have been doing year on year because we know that the demand never ends. For example, pediatric heart surgery. We have been doing it for the last 10 years. Every year, there are about 1.5 lakh children born in India with congenital heart issues. And many of them, at least 60% of them, come from rural areas, and they are born in families where the mothers did not get sufficient nutrition during the pregnancies, and they did not also do the checkups. They did not know about all this, or even if they knew, the family said no, forget about it, they are not so important, they don't want to, you just have a baby, don't go into all these things. And when they have the baby, then many of them, they are in denial, and then they come to us. At that point of time, they can't afford the treatment. So we have tied up with say Kokilaben Ambani Hospital, and then they do the surgery for these people. We recommend the patients, we get the medical records, the patients come here, the entire medical checkup, the travel, the stay, everything we take care of. The patients don't have to take care of a single pie. So where do we get the funds? The funds come from the corporation. So the patients we have on the one hand, the hospital on the other hand, the corporate on the other hand. So what we do is connect these three. Though the organizations, the patient, if he goes to a regular hospital, if a surgery costs 4 lakhs, this Kokilaben Ambani Hospital is doing it for us at about 2 lakhs or sometimes 1.5 lakhs, because they will only charge us for the consumables, the medicine or whatever they need to replace. The doctors, they don't charge. The facilities, they don't charge much. So we are able to afford it at that rate. That 1.5 lakhs come from the corporates. So they know that it's a reliable circle. We get the patients. We see that from beginning to end, we follow up with the clients and we submit the report to the corporates. So the organization doesn't have to employ a person full time in order to find out. And all these services come free. Rotary is one organization where the charges for administration are very less. Most of the NGOs, their cost is like some 40%, 45%. But Rotarians are all like, we are all professionals. We have our own profession, and we give our time to Rotary, and we don't charge a single pie. So administrative cost is less than 4%. Whereas in other organizations, it's like 40%, 45%. Okay, we give all our expertise. Our employees work for these organizations. So if I have a secretary, she will also work for this, right? And I work for this. So the organization spend very little administrative cost. So we do all the groundwork. We tell them, say the organization may be interested in, say, a cancer project. So we are tied up with the Tata Cancer Hospital, and then they are building housing for the cancer patients who are coming from other cities, and their parents or the children, they have to stay there. So for them, what is it that the corporates can do? So we have a project for that. So some organizations want to work with eye patients. It is all depending on what say, for example, the organization has got certain vision. We want to work with in the area of eyesight. So then we have tied up with certain hospitals. So I have a bouquet of projects. I have a presentation with about 20 projects. So some organization wants to work with literacy. Some wants to work with skill development. Some want to work with health, and health also some specific sector. Some want to work in the area of infrastructure. Some want to work in the area of farmers, agriculture. So depending on what they want to do, I have the bouquet, I take it to the organization. And then they choose, they go through that, and then they say, yes, I want to work in the area of skill development. So what is it that you have? Then I tell them, okay, here we have the venue, here we have the computers, here we have, these are the various courses that are offered, and we have the people also. We have people coming from poor areas who want to study these courses, and we have organizations lined up to give them employment also. So it has to be a complete cycle. Then the organization says, okay, I'm investing 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 25 lakhs. that is when they come up with it.
So when the corporates and when the NGOs meet up for an CSR, are there any particular compliances that like both the parties have to keep in mind?
Yes, of course, yes. The compliance are the most important. That is why I said first you have to check whether the NGO is fully compliant, whether it is registered, whether they can give you that ATG certificate, whether they have the CSR, whether they have a trust, what kind of reports do they have. These are the things that they check. They ask for all these certificates. Once you send, the organization checks with these compliances, and then they come back to you for the projects. Then you share with them what are the projects you have done in the past, which organizations worked with you, and what are the various projects that you have for the current year. And then they vet the projects and come back to you. Compliances are the most important things. Otherwise, yes, it is not going to work.
Definitely. Okay. So that was, I think, the CSR questions, what we all had installed for you.
Absolutely.
So let's coming back to the coaching. So if you don't mind, could you share us one of your best experiences so far in coaching?
Beautiful experiences I have had. Sometimes, there was a client with whom I worked because he had a stammering issue.
Okay.
Yeah, and he never used to stammer before. That is what other employees, when we were doing presentation skills program, soft skills program, and I knew he was in for the next promotion. And other colleagues told me that he is every day, whenever it is time for the people to present, he will sign up and he won't show up that day. He will say there is a meeting and he won't come. So that is when some of his colleagues told me that he never used to stammer, but he started this problem because he lost his wife during one of those train. There was this bomb explosion in the train. So he lost his wife in the bomb explosion. So that was a very sad thing. So he didn't sign up for coaching, but I talked to him one-on-one and mentored him. And he came out of that because I signed him up for Toastmasters. And in Toastmasters, he went on attending several meetings and developed confidence. And that is when he came out of that stammering. This thing. So later on, he came and told me, there was nothing in it for you, because I did not formally sign up with him for coaching, and still you contributed so much to my life. Now my life is completely changed. I become a very confident person. The pain is pain. You can't get rid of the pain.
Yes.
But you cannot allow that to have a permanent impact and prevent you from going ahead in your life. That becomes a stumbling block. So he said, somewhere I began to hate myself and hate my spouse, whom I lost, for causing this. And after this, now my relationship with her, who has passed away, has healed. So that was a very touching experience. Then there is a case of this girl who went for a Tejaswini beauty contest, and she wanted, not from a very lower middle class family, and she said, "Ma'am, I've seen you wear the dress. I think I will fit in that dress very well. Can I have the dress?" I said, "Of course you can have that dress." And all the questions, everything that she could do, I coached her with. And then she went and she did the program, and she said it was not exactly the dress, but when I wore the dress, I felt as though you were standing there. I felt I was seeing you, the confidence with which you carried yourself when you wore that dress. That is what I felt when I wore it. It really touched me. I get goosebumps when I say that. And she came out a winner. And that was a very touching moment. And now she's a psychotherapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay. I mean, you may be having so many experiences to share.
So many of them.
You can just see the look on your face.
This student who said that, who was going through a lot of stress because parents had separated and mother was going through a lot of stress and they did not have their own house. And she said, "I want to enroll in military." I asked her, "Why do you want to enroll in military?" And this is the reason. She said, "Then we will have our own house." I said, "That's a wrong reason to enroll for military." So what exactly life in the military will involve. I said, you can get this even without enrolling into military. So then I told her that what are her strengths. We worked on that, and now she's working in HR in UK.
Okay.
Very well. And she has, of course, got a house for her parents, for her in-laws, for herself, doing so well in her life. Life has been amazing. God is very kind.
So moving on to the next question, okay. So like, according to you, how important it is for an individual to have soft and behavioral skills?
Oh, so very important. It is like you can sing very well, but then if your tongue is cut, what's the point? You have everything is tied there. It is there in the throat, but it can't come out. So soft skills and behavioral skills are those that are the communication vehicle. That is the vehicle that allows you to reach out to people, to reach out to resources and connect with them and use it at the right time. So you may have everything that you want, but you are not able to express it if you don't have the soft skills of the behavioral skills. It is like you have the hardware in your computer, but if you don't have the software, you can't use it, right? You have to install the software. That is when the hardware is going to work. Simple. The programs, if they are not installed, it is just something dead there.
It is completely dead, yes.
Yes.
So, but so Girijaa, is there like a particular age or something like a person should like go for it for like, going for software or behavioral skills, or is it like thought from any age, any kind of thing? If you could share
all our life, we keep on learning. Even I'm a coach, even I keep learning. I keep learning soft skills from my children, from my grandchildren. Sometimes I sign up for certain courses because I find when they speak something, I feel, oh, I can't do this. This person is doing so well. Say, for example, humor. When a person does imbues humor in the talk and it is able to make people create a riot of laughter, they feel, oh, I can't do that. I want to do that. So I signed up for courses like that now because I want to do that. I want to explore that side of my personality. So everybody has got some strengths. Learn and learn all your life. That only makes you feel happier and a full-blown person. Even my children don't understand. Why do you have to keep on learning? But that's what gives me joy, right? It's like people tasting different cuisines. Like you may have South Indian cuisine is what you're used to, you grew up with. But then when you go to different countries, you realize that, okay, there is a Mexican cuisine. It takes time to get used to. But once you get used to, you realize, okay, that has got certain beautiful taste. And there is certain things good in the health, for the health also. So you will get used to that. And then you will find Lebanese cuisine and you will take Lebanese cuisine. So everywhere you have to keep learning. That is when you discover the beauty of life. Definitely. There is no age.
I'm just trying to relate with the thing what you said before some time back about sharpening your axe and learning. I'm just trying to make sense of everything, but how you're saying right and relating it back to that part. It's completely making all sense right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. We have got. Yes.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Okay, so this is I think when the viewers would be interested to know about this. So what attracted you to being a Toastmaster and how has the journey been so far?
Oh, yes. See, what attracted me to Toastmasters, right from childhood, I was impressed with my father was a great public speaker.
Okay.
He ran his own typewriting organizations and he had several branches and he would have annual days. And when he's speaking, I would see 140, 150 of them, no mic, and he would be speaking and all the people spellbound and listening to his experiences. And that inspired me. And I began to become right from the age of 6 or 7 or right from 4th standard, I began speaking. And of course, I had my journey. I stumbled, I stammered, I had my nervousness. I overcame that. Then I began to win national level competitions and all that. And I completed my graduation. I was a university rank holder. I came to Mumbai. I began to look for a job. And what stood me up? What was the unique selling proposition that I had was this ability to speak in public. So wherever I went, I got the job. Now, when I began to move from, like I said, I was a teacher. And from there, I moved to corporate coaching. And I go for an interview at Oracle. And they say, oh, you are the best person that we had. But our organization policy is, if somebody is a Toastmaster, we have to give them the assignment. We have two Toastmasters who have come. That is when I heard that there is an organization called Toastmasters to improve public speaking. So then I signed up. Even though I was a good public speaker, I signed up. And then I learned there is no limit to learning. I might have been good, but still there are so many parameters to becoming excellent. So I joined in the year 2008. And still the journey continues. And I see that there are members who are very high in positions, who are corporate leaders and are still members in Toastmasters. Because every day you get opportunity to speak. And Toastmasters also has integrity, service as some of its values. So even though I present my speeches and go ahead because certain education goals, and that will give me some positions, I will do that. But at the same time, I will go to every week I will join at least one other meeting where I'm not expected to do a role and give service to the organization to help another speaker come up in life. So this is how we do both. Service and at the same time improve yourself. So Toastmasters gives you the opportunity to do that. And it gives me the opportunity to mentor. There are people who are very young who have joined an organization just now. And then I tell them what all they can do, how they can become negotiators, how they can become good salespeople, how they can become good HR people, what are the skills. And I work with them on their specific paths. There are 11 paths in Toastmasters. So what is it that works for them? I work with them, and then at each stage, I'm there hand-holding, preparing their speech, editing their speech, working with them in the voice modulation. They send their speeches and then I listen to them. I spend the same speech, I deliver it and I send it to them, and they listen to both and see what you want to choose, what you feel comfortable with. As a lady, I may do something, and as a man, he may not be comfortable with. I tell them what is it that you can explore. And that is when we arrive at a Via Media, and then they come and present, and I feel, wow, what is a remarkable change that the person has gone through. He is able to see from his first speech to the last speech. He's able to listen to his own recordings and see the difference. That is what makes a difference. So Toastmasters gives you ample opportunity to explore your own strengths and weaknesses, and also help others become more aware of that. It is a coaching experience which is permanently going on.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you please tell us the importance of being a part of organizations like Rotary, Learners Conclave, Toastmasters, and others? How has this changed your life, being a part of all such organizations?
When we are part of other organizations like this, what happens is we see you see peers. Otherwise, see, I have my own DG consulting, and I work, and I will work as a silo. I will not know people who are there in my sailing the same boat. What exactly are the skills they have? What are the challenges that they are facing? Where am I better and where I need to improve? I will not know. But when I join these organizations, whether it is Learners Conclave, and I attend there, I see somebody presenting an icebreaker, and I see how I'm presenting an icebreaker, and I know I can feel the difference, and I know, okay, I am doing here better. And I know I can contribute to the growth of that person. And there is somebody else who does something better. And I realize I can incorporate that for some other training module that I'm doing. So we keep constantly growing. It is like you cook in your own kitchen and you are the master of your own kitchen. That's fine. But when you visit somebody else's house, when you work with them, when you are working with them in the kitchen, you know that there are certain limits. They are the host and you are the guest. But then you observe, and then you are working with them and cooking with them, and you learn. And they also see, oh, you cut vegetables so fast. So I never expected this to happen. So fine and so beautiful, and all of them in same shape. So you realize certain things that your strengths, and at the same time, you realize that there are certain tricks that they are doing, which you probably were not aware of. Right? So you pick up things on the way. So you need to always do things together. So that team spirit, it comes, some give and take, it comes. Your ego, you are able to give up. You are always humble. All these things develop when we work in Toastmasters, when we work in Rotary. Because in Rotary, people are all, many of them are business owners, or many of them are like CEOs, right? So everybody comes there, and you find somebody like, Rajashri Birla coming there. You find somebody like, Mukesh Ambani coming there. And you find that you're also going there. And all of us are equal. They're treated equal there. And there is so much of affection, camaraderie. You share what are your thoughts, and they are accepted, listened to. And people listen to you for your thoughts, not for who you are or what you have achieved, or how does your bank balance, or how many cars you have. No. So that's it. What is it that you bring to the table that builds the worth? So you find happiness there. Yes. So even before I became president, sometimes, usually that was a protocol in Rotary. But even before I became president, I was given the opportunity to become the leadership coach. I was given the opportunity to become the senior trainer. So many things, these trends started when I began to work in Rotary. So I've realized that, there are certain set patterns and rules, but even organizations are ready to circumvent them if you're ready to contribute. I saw that happening in my district.
Okay. But there's one more thing. Like, you have just spoke a lot about Toastmasters and all that again. So if you don't mind, could you share one little bit part, but how was the experience when you enrolled yourself for the first time? How was it like? What was the experience like for the first time when you seen everyone public speaking, and how was that experience? If you could emphasize a little bit about
enrolled yourself in Toastmasters, or when you did public speaking first time? What is it?
I want to know a little bit more about Toastmasters. Like, what exactly was it like? The experience when you heard about it, you wanted to go in it.
Yeah, actually, we started the first Toastmasters also in Mumbai. I was part of the charter club in Mumbai. Okay. So we were the beginners. There were people who were experienced from who have started clubs and who have been running the clubs, who are distinguished Toastmasters from other clubs, who came and spoke about their experiences. So we were inspired, and we saw that there was a specific regiment in Toastmasters. There is a grammarian, there is an arc counter. So when you make a speech, he tells, if you say, how many times did you say it? How many fillers, how it affects your flow, how it will impede the listening of other people, how it could break the conversation or the flow of thoughts of other people, how you can improve your vocabulary, thinking on your feet, so many things, how it develops. So when you attend one meeting, you realize that there are certain prepared speeches. People come with prepared speeches, and there are evaluators who are evaluating the speeches, not the speaker, and they give very specific evaluation, which is like, there is a commendation, there is a recommendation, and there is a commendation. So it is like a sandwich pattern. And then when you advance, then there is more critique coming, and you're willing to take that coming from that. So you may see that I'm a part of two Toastmasters Club. One is Advanced Toastmasters Club, and the other is Ordinary Toastmasters Club. In the Advanced Toastmasters Club, for every speech that I give, I will have 3 evaluators. So one will look at my language, another will look at my body and the body language, the other will look at whether I have aligned myself to the objective, speech objective, and whether I have achieved that. So the critique is more sharpened. It is more about where I need to improve than where I have done well. Whereas in the basic Toastmasters, it is about where I have done well. So what I know is, okay, here I've done well, and I need to reinforce those. I have to retain those. And I know from this that here I need to improve and I need to work on them. And I know everything comes from a good place. So I'm not looking at this, oh, these people are always criticizing. I look forward to that. I want somebody to say that. That is why I go there. So both help me a lot.
Okay, so that comes to the end of the professional questions.
Oh, yeah.
Now we want to the personal questions. Okay?
Sure.
All right. So Girijaa, what according to you is Stree Shakti? What is the meaning for you?
Stree Shakti is soft,
okay,
and strong at the same time. It is compassion coupled with strength and focus That is Stree Shakti. I saw it in my father's grandmother. My father all the time used to talk about this. Uh, when I was in fourth standard, she passed away at the age of 108.
Okay.
But my father was grandmother. At the age of 45, she lost her daughter, 28-year-old, to pneumonia.
Okay.
And my father and his younger brother, 7 years old and 1.5-year-old, she brought both of them to her house. And all the relatives said, she was a widow, illiterate. They said, you have brought 2 children home. How are you going to bring them up? Right? So she said, with eyes glistening with tears, but feet very firm, she went to the nearby jeweler, sold all the jewelry of her daughter, bought paddy fields, and got from that income, she raised the grandchildren, gave them education. So at that time, she knew, she had not studied what rich dad, poor dad. She did not know, okay, what is lying in the locker is not an income. It is not an asset. It is a liability because you're paying for the locker and it is lying there. She didn't look at it like nobody had to teach her. But on her own, she realized that my 2 grandsons, they need education. And that is what going to take them ahead. So she sold the jewelry, invested it in paddy field. She went and personally supervised. She had men working there in the paddy field, got the money from the contractor, educated the children at that time. That is pre-independence era. So my father used to say that is Stree Shakti, right? So she had nobody, but she never thought I had nobody. She thought I have everybody. These 2 children are everything for me. Her entire focus was there. I have seen this in many women today when, as part of Rotary, I'm working. When we go to small villages and we find women carrying water for miles, almost 3 or 4 hours a day goes in carrying water. And then they are cooking, they're educating their children. What time do they get to look after themselves? Nothing. But they are so happy and fulfilled. So that is, I think, Stree Shakti. Not looking at the challenges, but looking at the possibilities. Looking at what can be done instead of what cannot be done. Always looking at that. So there will be challenges. There could sometimes people around you are challenges. People whom you think are going to be your strength sometimes become your weaknesses. But you don't allow that. You see what is good in that person and only allow that to occupy your mind. Try to work with that person. If it doesn't work out, go past that and still, work with the person and take it along with you and don't allow that to be detrimental to your progress. That is Stree Shakti.
Very beautiful example given on that. Thank you, Girijaa, for that.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Right. So we move on to the next question. Okay. So how do you as a coach and a leader continue to grow personally while following your profession?
Like I said, personal growth is nothing separate from professional growth for me because my passion and profession are the same. So what is my personal growth? My personal growth is like, I want to explore what are the new things that I want to do. For example, when I came to Mumbai from Tamil Nadu, I lost touch with my mother tongue, but I loved Tamil. I was a scholar in Tamil. I was rank holder in Tamil, but there was not much opportunity. But once internet came up, I realized that I can do a lot. I came here for my daughter when my daughter was to give birth to my grandchild. And I said, I don't want to sit idle. And I was exploring opportunity. I said, I can do transliteration. So I transferred entire Reddit.com to Tamil version. I did it on my own. Airtel, Tata AIG, insurances, so many things I did, translations. Now I'm translating stories in Tamil into English. And I'm presenting both the video format, Tamil format, as well as the English format in video format. Because so many old people told us, we want to listen to the stories, we can't read the books. So please present it as videos. Now I'm presenting it as videos. So that is my personal growth, because there is a lot of satisfaction I get when I send the videos to aged people and they feel, wow, we are listening to them and going to sleep. That is so wonderful. And children do listen to them. So personal growth and professional growth there is no demarcation. There is no watertight compartment there. Everything merges to the same. Your personal growth finally shows in your profession. right? And when you go professionally, that shows in the way you interact with your children, with your husband, with your parents-in-law, everybody. So the more generous you become, the more service-minded you become. All these things you get in your profession, you bring to your personal life. What all you learn from your personal life, the attributes that I learned from my father-in-law, I bring it to my profession. Even after he retired, he used to sit in the corridor, and he would invite children who are going, hey, you come here. What marks did you get? Show me today. You must have got. After he retired, he knew that every 10th they will get their progress report. He'll call them and he'll say, "Tumhara marks come kidhar kyun hai maths mein? Kal se come here." And he will tell me, "Girijaa, you buy me new maths books, new English books, grammar books. I want to teach the children." So he would use them and teach the children for nothing, no fees. But his corridors used to be full, 20, 25 children all the time. So I learned from him. So it never stops.
What are the challenges you faced? Like, when you, as you said, you were a teacher and then into leadership. What are the challenges you faced in your personal life, while chasing a little bit of your professional life? Were there any kind of challenges that you faced in personal life, and how did you overcome?
Yeah, yes, challenges are always there, right? It's not always that you get a spouse who's supportive. So there were issues in the beginning. So I went through a bitter divorce, and it was, but then I had 2 children. I focused on that. I had to stop my career because I thought family life was more important. So I wanted to give it the best, but in spite of that, it didn't work out. So then I went through the divorce. Again, I picked up from where I left. I found the love of my life. Again, in my profession, I got remarried. He loves the way that I am tackling my profession. He respects that I give, importance to my professional growth. He understands that I value service more than the money that comes from it. So there is a lot of symphony there. So that harmony comes in. So life is not always go the way you want, but we have to mold ourselves as life takes it. It is like, we have to be like water flowing where life gives the opportunities. Water finds its own way. So we have to find our own way. We can't be like rocks and say that I will be like this. Like when the heavy wind blows, it is the grass that is able to turn according to the wind that stays. Right. The tree that stays strong will break. So as I found that being flexible has helped me to move along in life. And I have found that it works. Life will not be always 100% everywhere at every moment satisfactory. But you look at what works for you and feel happy about it, and look at people for whom there are so many things not working and still they are smiling and they have to go ahead in life. Or with tears also, they still go on in life. They don't give up. So many of us are so fortunate, and we choose to think where it hurts, right? So think of where it doesn't hurt. Go ahead. And the other thing will mend itself. The skin will automatically become thicker there and it will mend itself.
According to you, what are the biggest challenges that, the today's generation of leaders face? And how should they overcome it?
Oh, plenty of challenges for the leaders. One is there are visible enemies and there are invisible enemies. If I'm looking at the political level, the national level, I find that people within your own group, sometimes they do not know. Sometimes people do not know. They think they're giving you good suggestions, but they are propagating ideas which will spread in public and will work against you. So people who are working with good intention, but still causing harm. And people who do not know that they are doing harm to you. And then there are people who are intentionally doing harm with you within your own circle. And you think they are your friends. And if you have such friends, you don't need such enemies at all. And then there are people who are working with certain international forces now, because it is very easy to work, undercurrents are there and you may not even realize what is brewing behind you. So only when it becomes too huge a storm, you realize what has been going in the background. So we say, storm in a teacup. So some things are brewing and we don't realize it. And that can become huge. And so people have to be very, very mindful nowadays, the leaders. So whether it is in an organization, whether it is people who are leading the country, the challenges are too many. Social media is a huge support, and the social media can be a huge challenge. So we need to have people who are looking at it constantly, working with you, in sync with you, and telling you what is going right, what is going wrong, and correcting what needs to be done. And at the right time, they need to take action when things go wrong. That is important.
Sticking to that question, now we may know that, like there are there's this trend of a startup culture that's going on currently.
Yes.
What would be your piece of advice to someone who's going to be a leader in a very big leadership role in a startup company? What would be your advice to that particular person?
Yes. The many people believe that if it is a startup, then you will have sleepless nights. You will most of the times you will not earn what you think you will. And many people also think that the technology with which you start must be something unique. The product that you have must be something unique. Then only can be successful in startup. None of this is true. Actually, if you work with startups, you realize that if you have good strategy, if you have understanding of the stakeholders, what exactly do they need? Sometimes the same product, but the way you offer it to the people, already a product may be existing, and that may not have worked so well. But a similar product you are launching, but you are able to reach out to the public in a way that it appeals to them, then it becomes a success, right? So one is work with the success setup, success mindset. Second is be willing to accept failure. Don't keep on working. If it doesn't work, okay, one idea doesn't work, doesn't mean that the next idea doesn't work. Okay, move on. Start up again, take up another product, another idea, work on it. Because whatever you failed there, you have learned something from there. Apply that. Only thing is journal. Note down what you learned and go through that and keep those learnings, and then you'll be able to work ahead. It is very important. Startups are the huge, what you call it, the live stream of a community. When we had the COVID, I will tell you, I was the president of a Rotary Club of Mumbai at that time. So we had very different plans for projects. And suddenly in the month of January, we had COVID, and we were March 22nd, we were told that, okay, everything has to stop. But then we went through a different cycle. We had to do different projects. So for the hospitals, we had to supply PPEs. We had to supply different kinds of machines for them to detect, how COVID is there, oxygenators, all those different kinds of products we had to supply. And what we found out, there were, in the first 1 month, there was difficulty because we had to import those things from abroad. But within 1 month, wow, we had so many people supplying PPEs, and with international quality, we could get everything done, and we got approval. So we got sanctioned, say, for example, 10.5 lakhs for CSR, and from Rotary Global Grant, I got 32 lakhs. Imagine, 10 lakhs I give, and Rotary gave 22 lakhs. So for 32 lakhs, I was able to supply products to different hospitals. So different municipal hospitals got all their requirements because of this. So to different police people, people who are working in going to different areas and supplying food, we could give them all those stuff that they require. It was a huge experience. So startups are the lifebone or the lifeblood of our country. And we have now huge movement going on, and a lot of young people infused with that energy to start up. And we have the right climate also that is provided. So it is, I am all for it, and anyone who requires any support, I'm there with it.
Okay.
There is Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust.
Okay.
Which is,
Yeah.
also supporting men, giving mentors and supplying help, giving them help, even giving them loans, tying them up with banks and all that. So people can sign up there. Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust.
All right.
Yeah.
Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
BYST, it is called. BYST.
Right.
Dr. Sukanya Iyer is the chairperson, and people can sign up there.
We'll put that in the description. So people can surely get into that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last question for the personal this thing is, okay. And then we'll move on to the fun element. Don't worry, that will be a little bit more exciting to you because our audience would definitely want to know more about it. So the last question we want to wrap up with is, what is your advice to the Gen Z crowd or the Gen Z employees that are coming up? What is your advice to them?
Gen Z employees are all people who don't want to give up all their life at work. They want to have a balance in life. They want to work out. They want to take care of their health. They want to have go out with their family during weekends. So if organizations can offer that, then while they're at work, they 100% will be at work. So people who are of the previous generation, they have to understand that Gen Z employees, they don't want, say, 40 lakhs a year. They are okay with 30 lakhs a year, but they want that balance. So probably you need to look at how you can balance that and plan your workforce accordingly. Then it will work.
Okay. So that comes to an end of the personal questions. Now let's start with the fun element. Okay.
What is that?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you now. Don't worry.
Okay. That is interesting.
Yeah. So the fun element, Girijaa, is going to be, we're going to put some random questions across to you.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever the first thing comes in your mind and how you want to answer it, it's completely free on how you want to do it. So we'll start, okay?
Yeah.
So Girijaa, if you have to describe yourself in 2 words, what would be the 2 words?
2 words?
Yes.
Fun, commitment.
Fun and commitment. Why did you choose those 2 specific words?
Because I feel that whatever I take up, I'm committed to it and I have fun while doing it.
Okay. What is self-love to you?
Self-love is doing what I enjoy. So for somebody else, self-love may be going to a beauty parlor or doing a gymnastic workout or going to the gym and working out or, spending time with friends, going to hotels. For different people, different things. For somebody, painting, or for somebody, music, different things. For me, self-love is being with people, working with young minds, working with people who want to improve themselves. That is self-love.
Given the chance to go back in time, like the time machine, going back in time, who is that one person you would love to meet and why?
Would love to meet?
Yeah, who you would love to meet and why?
Oh God, I can't choose one. I want to meet both my mommy and daddy. And I want to tell them how much I love them and how much I look up to them. Because probably I did not tell them many things that I want to tell them now. So many things that I've learned and I'm using in my life. At that time, I didn't know I will use or I will realize. And I did not tell them so much. Though I've always respected them. They always knew that I loved them. I did show it to them in special ways. They always used to tell me, but I still feel that today, if they were there, I would have done things much more and and differently also. Yes.
How would you like to be remembered?
Someone who spread fragrance wherever she went, laughter where she went, brought joy to other people's lives, and was happy with whatever she got.
All right. So Girijaa, this is the last question and what I want to ask you. Okay. So just think about it. Given the chance, okay, that you could gift the world one thing, what would be that one thing that you would like to gift the world and why?
The world.
Yeah, to the world, to the whole entire universe.
Wow. The universe has been so giving. I would like to give back in whatever way the universe expects from me.
Okay.
So that is one thing. I want to go with the spirit of giving. What is it that I can give in any situation with anybody? Instead of looking at what is in it for me, I want to look at what is in it for them. So if that is the one thing that I would like to give to the universe.
All right. That's a very good answer.
That is true.
It is true. I can say that.
Yeah. Amazing experience listening to you and answering your questions. Hope you enjoyed the experience too.
Definitely, Girijaa. I loved having this conversation with you, and I'll be surely looking on to having another conversation with you for sure.
Yeah. Sure. Anytime.
All right.
I love it. Yes.
Thank you very much for doing this. You're seriously a sport.
I am a sport. Yes.
You are. And with the time differences and everything, you made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm doing a series on freedom from addiction with a channel called Varun Kapoor's YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is, we deal with drugs and alcohol, as well as, work addiction and addiction to digital addiction, porn addiction, all kinds of topics we have been discussing. So this is again a project with Rotary Club of Freedom from Addiction and Rotary Club of Mumbai Elite. Together we have been doing it. And people from all over the world have been participating. So this channel is from California, and now it is operating from Texas. And that is how I've been doing. For each of this show, we have got at least 25,000 views. And I feel tremendously blessed to have been able to do it because of the support of the channel, which is owned by Varun Kapoor. So like you said, I keep on exploring new things. The universe has given me so much. What I have given back, nothing. That's what I feel. Whatever I have received in my lifetime is so huge. So even if we are all bubbles, that is my constant thought. The sun shines on us and then we shine. If the sun stops shining, we are shining and then we burst. So small. So in that small time, if the sun shines for us, we should be happy and we should all the colorful rays we emit. That's what we are.
Definitely. That's a great insight. I'm surely we'll ask people to check out that YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, sure. Yes.
All right. Then cheers to you, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you. Take care too.
Bye.
Bye.